In an industry that was dominated by the likes of Atari, Nintendo, Sega, and PlayStation, Microsoft dropped their big, girthy controller on the table with the Xbox back in November 2001. While not an immediate success, it went on to bring a ton of advances and changes to the home console in general. Xbox Live, the DirectX, and most importantly, Halo. They followed that up with the Xbox 360, which turned out to be their biggest success story, with Halo 3 again leading the chart, along with new IPs like Gears of War and of course Forza. Then they followed that up with the Xbox One, again led by Halo and Gears of War and Forza. Now we are at the current generation and Xbox Series consoles are led by Halo and Forza. I guess Gears series is taking a break. Where are the new IPs?
This is disgusting.
Oh crap. That's right people. Today we're going to talk about the downfall of Xbox and its current horrible state. So grab your green Xers and your favorite green drink because I'm going to tell you why Xbox is dying. While it's not the biggest success story, Xbox still got its claws into the home console market. A rare and commendable feat considering how it went for other brands that tried to do the same.
Gee, it sure is boring around here.
Their biggest break, however, came with the Xbox 360. Why they decided to call that and not Xbox 2 is anybody's guess. I guess the idea was that this is a 360-degree entertainment system. Yeah, it sounds stupid regardless. It didn't seem like a problem back then, but now the Xbox names are a clusterfuck of confusion. Anyway, Xbox 360 expanded upon the live services and dominated the online space with their golden boy, Halo 3. Xbox 360 did have its fair share of launch issues, most notably RROT.
The Red Ring of Death.
I legit have PTSD because of this. Although this was fixed in the newer models, it did not stop kids from wrapping their consoles in cold towels. Yes, 2006 was a weird time. The major reason for Xbox 360 taking a huge chunk of market share was Sony. What? Yes, Sony was like, bro, you wanna succeed? Say no more. With a rough launch for Sony and a divisive processor that was a nightmare to work with, Xbox 360 was the preferred console for developers and consumers alike. Whoops. Microsoft learned from Sony's and their own mistakes and launched the successor of Xbox 360, the Xbox One, for $399. It had a ton of brand new exclusives that were top quality and it went on to dominate the 8th generation of console. That is a fucking lie. Microsoft fucked up big time on the 8th generation. You guys already know where this is headed, so let's get into it. It was actually Sony who learned their lesson from the disaster launch of PS3 and approached the PS4 humbly, designing a more developer-friendly console and focusing on what matters the most: games. Xbox meantime looked at the PS3's messed up launch and said, you know what? I want some of that stupid shit. And they went on to have one of the most anti-consumer launches in the history of consoles. The fuck-ups includes, and is not limited by, mandatory connect in the box. The console needs to be always online. You need to authenticate your games every 24 hours online or you will be locked out. The launch price was $499 and the most messed up thing is no game sharing. This one grinds my gears of war because you cannot share your physical copy of the game you bought with your friends. Now why would Microsoft do this? We all know this is stupid, but why did Microsoft go through with this? Let me try to explain. You see, when you buy a game, let's say Halo 5 for example, at launch for $60, you paid full price for it. And so Microsoft gets a share from that purchase. But when you decide to lend that copy to a friend or maybe sell it secondhand for $30, Microsoft gets two things: jack and shit. So according to this new DRM plan, when you lend this game to your friend and he inserts the disc in his Xbox, he will be prompted to a purchase page where he has to buy the game for his console. What the fuck? What's worse is, you couldn't even continue playing your games if you don't have an internet connection. When Don Matrick, the head of Xbox back in the day, was asked about this, he had this to say.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't,
Well,
if you don't like it?
if you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
What the fuck was that?
This put Xbox in a deep, deep pile of stinking shit.
That is one big pile of shit.
All this was in front of the world at E3 2013. Just a few hours later, Sony took the stage and outright roasted Microsoft.
For instance, PlayStation 4 won't impose any new restrictions on the use of PS4 gamers. When a gamer buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever. PlayStation 4 disc-based games don't need to be connected online to play. And it won't stop working if you haven't authenticated within 24 hours.
They even went on to mock Microsoft after the fact in some of the promo videos post E3, like this one.
Thanks.
PlayStation.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad look for Xbox. So Don Matrick was out and Phil Spencer, the guy on this thumbnail, was the new head of Xbox, who started making meaningful changes right away. Connect was out, making Xbox One sell for $399 again, and backwards compatibility was announced. Still, it was too late. Sony was already way ahead of them with the PS4. Microsoft knew this, and they seemingly gave up trying to save the Xbox One and moved on to the next generation of consoles. They started planning their next moves to win the 9th generation. They went on a buying spree like an upset girlfriend and brought a bunch of studios to prepare for the battle for the 9th generation of consoles. Spoiler? They fucked up again. Microsoft was quick to announce that
Most powerful console of all time.
early at the Game Awards, the Xbox Series X. So with all the studios they have bought, combined with the studios they already have, this is what the list looked like. So we should be looking at a bunch of exclusives coming out right as the Xbox Series X generation begins, right? Right? Fuck, how did this happen? How did they fuck up Halo? Forza is doing fine, I guess. But how does Microsoft let their exclusive title from one of the most notable developers who worked on games like Dishonored and Deathloop release in this state? It would be a different story if this was a technical issue, but the game itself is bland and uninspired. Well, to get the answers for all of this, we don't have to look far, because Kind of Funny Xbox podcast had Phil Spencer as their guest, and they got some answers directly from the man himself.
I don't look at the review scores on Redfall, and there are quality issues, and we're working on those. But I think there's a fundamental piece of feedback that we get that the game isn't realizing the creative vision that it had for its players. That doesn't feel like a, hey, just delay it. That feels like the game had a goal to do one thing, and when players are actually playing, they're not feeling that thing. They're not feeling the creative execution of the team.
What sucks is that they showcased the game running at 60 FPS, but at launch, it was barely touching 30 FPS on the
Most powerful console of all time.
They put out Deathloop before this. I didn't like the game, but the critics seemed to love it. So how did they fuck up this bad with Redfall?
What were they thinking?
This game sold for $70, mind you. Let that sink in. So, what is next for the Xbox Series consoles? Oh, that's right, Starfield is coming out. Phil had this to say about it in the podcast.
We talk about 60 frames, 30 frames. Should Xbox players expect a clear message this summer with Starfield with 30 and 60 frames? That's a big lesson learned, as you brought up. Should we expect that answer? It's clear as day?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's good to know. Let me see who's leading the development for this game.
16 times the detail.
Oh, fuck! All eyes are now on Starfield, and we all know how that goes. It will be heavily criticized no matter what they do, so they better bring their A game. Or rather, their AAA game. But hey, Microsoft has the biggest franchise of all time in the bag, the Call of Duty. Ah, fuck. Listen, Phil is a great guy. Just in the podcast alone, you can tell that he's not happy, but you can also tell that he's taking this very hard and would love for things to change. He cares about games, the gaming community, and more importantly, the people who make games. With that being said, in the same interview, he also said this.
We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. That when you're third place in the console marketplace and the top two players are as strong as they are, I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way. We lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation, but this idea that if we just focused more on great games on our console, that somehow we're going to win the console race. There is no world where Starfield's an 11 out of 10 and people start selling their PS5s. That's not going to happen.
Now you and many people might go up in arms and say, hey, how can you say that? If not games, then what is needed? And you all would be fucking right. Sure, Starfield getting 11 out of 10 won't change anything, but you're telling me if Xbox gets a bunch of kick-ass titles, it won't sell? Heck, I would buy an Xbox to play good games. The reason I bought Game Pass recently is to play Hi-Fi Rush. I got a subscription to play just one game. I would no doubt buy a console if it came out with bangers. And for God's sake, stop saying Xbox Game Pass is the best thing. Well, newsflash, Xbox Game Pass needs games. If those games are like Redfall, I don't want it. Microsoft needs to learn from their mistakes. They need to get with the fact that their
Most powerful console ever.
needs freaking games. Ever since Microsoft's focus shifted from Xbox being a gaming home console to a multimedia device that could also play games, it has been going downhill. The fact of the matter is, Microsoft is leading the PC market as far as operating system is concerned. And wouldn't you know it? Your PC is the fucking multimedia device that can also play games. How freaking stupid is that? People buy game consoles to play games. It's not rocket science. So make good games and the console will sell. I don't know how somewhere along the line Xbox became tired of being a one-trick pony and decided to become a multi-trick donkey. It is clearly not working. Heck, after watching the reviews for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, I'm genuinely considering buying a Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch! Me! By the way, let me know in the comments if you want to watch me stream Legend of Zelda series on this channel. So, it's safe to say that good games sell consoles. God damn it, I sound like a broken record at this point. Hot take, Phil Spencer. Make great games and watch your console fly off the shelves. I don't want Xbox to fail. In an industry like this, innovation comes from competition. And without that, it'll be Sony's turn to become cocky. And we all know how that turned out.
$599 US.
Dear Microsoft, stop with these fucking stupid console names, cause I could never for the life of me explain to my son which Xbox came out first. And after you figure that out, please invest in some games and game developers. Not just your money, but also time. It is the only way to stay in the competition. Let me know down in the comments what do you think about the current state of Xbox. Or do what all the cool kids do today and call me a Sony fanboy in the comments. Whatever it is, just type it down. I'll see you guys in the next video. I think I should talk about Sony's fuck-ups next. Maybe next video?